Hey everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Closing Report for January 26th, 2016. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss, with analysis for the upcoming session. Taking a look here at the daily time frame of the ES, what we see is price being offered obviously through the previous range low and has since sold off until we saw that major rejection of prices back toward that LVN, or rather the HVN here at 1811s, and then price pops back above the LVN of 1846. So what I mentioned here was pullbacks to 1846 should be defended for a continuation into 1921 and 1939. The previous session, what happened was we mentioned if price closes adverse to 79, you do not want to be holding. Instead, wait to trade a retest back toward 1846 and reload for another opportunity higher. And that's exactly what happened. In overnight trading, buyers came in, defended those lows, and pushed price back toward recent highs at the previous week's close. So right now, prices are basically coiling up within a clear range here, and we could see some significant expansion very, very soon. I would say above the previous week's high of 1907 half likely sparks a move back into 1950 half. And I know we've been gunning for 21 and 39, but I think there's going to be more movement ahead, especially with the way that price is coiling here. Any failure to hold above 1846 sparks a downside sell stops run into the next key target below, and that starts to get into 1746. So right now, 1746, very important here. If this level doesn't hold, expect bulls to defend it or continue to defend it, but as soon as it gives way, this thing is likely paving its way back downward with scaling targets along the way. All right, taking a look here at the lower time frame of the ES, we had the impulse move we talked about and marked pre-market here, especially in the trading room. Once we got above that level, we were looking for a move back into 1890 and a shot to see 1894, and we got both of those targets here today. Price then traded back and forth around value on a 1 and 5 day basis. Many big high volume nodes here along the way. We also have price being defended off the previous week's close price of 1898.75 with a major LVN here at 1886. So right now 1886 to 1900 is basically the key range to watch here. Expansion from this range will likely spark the next key move of about 30 to 40 handles. So this could be very, very significant. Watch it closely. All right, taking a look at crude oil. Looking at crude oil in the daily time frame, we've been trending lower. And obviously, I mentioned pullbacks to the PIMA here should be offered. Pullback should be offered. And here we are. Here's a pullback into the pivot-based DMAs. And you see it go offered. We also knew prices were being offered above the previous week's high of 32.35. And you can see prices rallied back into that zone on a high today and then sold off into the close. So right now we have 1, 2, 3 sessions here where we have high range sessions, but really we haven't gone anywhere but hold up here. I would say right now that, with these 3 sessions here, that's enough fuel here to start getting the bus moving in one direction or the other. I would say that as long as price continues to hold below that 33.03, we're likely headed downward. Failure to hold above these 29s here would likely run the downside stops into the next key targets below. Right now we have targets at 23.35, which would be like the likely next stop, with an outside shot at seeing something as low as 21.46. But right now, any failure to hold above 29s opens up a big pushback to 27.25 with a shot to see 24.35. Now, any squeeze above 33.03 here, a squeeze above this level opens up a return back toward MCVPOC here at 37.81. So a big time squeeze could be ahead if prices can get above 33.03. All right, taking a look at the lower time frame just briefly here, we had an overnight impulse move here. We calculated the key range. Above that key range, 30.86, led to a squeeze all the way to within just mere ticks of the 100% expansion target. That's exactly what you would expect. This range here, the impulse range, high to low right here, measures the same distance into that 100% target. So that's exactly what you would expect if price is able to hold above the top of this range, for it to mark back to the 50 and 100% moves. After that, prices sold off back toward 31.21, and that's where we're holding right now. So I would say near term here, we could see price auction much lower here, especially given how price went offered at value at 32.04. That's an MC VPOC, and so far it's been offered during this period of time, and again here, that could spell another likely wave lower for crude oil. Now taking a look at the gold futures contract, here's a daily time frame. We've talked about the rounded bottom and the pullback leading to a buy opportunity for a squeeze into 1123.80 and 1130. And today was a big time completion of the move here, heading into the bottom end of the target range. So we could see another session here where this thing bursts higher, but everything has been going according to plan here. And any failure to hold above 1110 would then suggest a return to 1072. So right now, I would believe that bulls want to keep 1110 bid for a shot at further upside targets. Taking a look at the NQ in a daily time frame. This one is very similar to the ES, where we had our rejection tail here. We had our pullback into our key zone that allowed for us to see the wave of movement higher, that short squeeze, the initial wave of strength. Now what we saw was a pullback. This pullback right here was defended right at that little volume peak there, and that led to a slingshot move back into 42.26. 42.26 being a major key level, obviously the midpoint of the August range. So you can see how price is trading above and below that level, chopping above and below it. That tells you that there's an important level there. Boom, 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 and it's just hitting on that level. I would say right now that we're still on the right side of the market. Given this rejection tail here, our expectation was for a return to 43.40. We're still in that direction. I mentioned the previous session that if price fails to hold above 4,200 and especially 41.74, which it did here, you don't want to hold on to a further pullback. Get rid of the rest of that position and then look to get in at a better price. And anything below here was a better price. You could have picked any one of those levels and gotten in without having to hold, and now you could be looking for a likely swing move higher. I would say 41.74 offers an opportunity here to watch for a pullback or even into this LVN in the upcoming overnight trade for a shot at seeing a slingshot move into 43.40 and perhaps a move all the way back to 44.49. So it could be significant here how this thing plays out. Now, failure to hold above 40.72 will negate this pattern, but as long as this LVN continues to hold, I expect bulls to continue to defend for now. Looking at the intraday time frame, we had the overnight impulse move that created our key range here from 41.33 to 41.95. Price attempted to hold above the top of that range and failed back to the midpoint, where it was then bid back up into 5-day VPOC. That was kind of the theme today, as most of the markets found overnight rejections and traded back to 5-day value. The same can be said here. Now what you see is a very important level at 42.05. 42.05 was the session's open price. You can see right here where price went offered here, then back to it, then held it, and rallied, then back to it and bid. So that's going to be the level to watch here. 42.05 is the pivot for overnight trading. Expect bulls to defend for another rotation higher. Failure to hold above 42.05 opens up a retest back at 41.74. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out heading into the rest of the week. Good luck and trade well.